Welcome to Hawk versus Wolf. This could very well be our first episode. Definitely our first episode with a guest.
Yeah.
Jason Ellis.
I'm Jason Ellis. Yeah.
I'm Tony Hawk.
Yeah, you are.
And to my right is Lizzie Armanto.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for being here. I have great admiration for Lizzie, huge respect for Lizzie, and also I'm very thankful she's here because she's here to tell us a story about her worst slam, arguably one of the worst slams ever in skateboarding history, that happened about 6 months ago. And she has not told anyone the story and has kept the footage under wraps. Surprisingly, in the world of today's social media, I still can't believe that hasn't been leaked.
Yeah, I just explained it to somebody and what a big deal it was. And he said, how is that possible that nobody knows about it as of today? And I said that I don't have the answer to that.
It was that traumatic. That's why.
It was that traumatic. It was traumatic. I mean, we'll get into the story and how traumatic it was for you. It was traumatic for everyone. It was traumatic for me to hear about on the phone when it happened.
And then you left, right?
I was there the day before, and I knew the worst case scenario, as does everyone.
Yeah.
And I imagined that would never happen. And it did happen. And I got the phone call. And I knew when I got the phone call by who was calling me, and I knew that Lizzie, where she was, that before I even picked up the phone, I said, Lizzie fell into the gap at the mega ramp.
Why? Because was it her mom?
It was...
It was probably Axel or
Mills? I think it was Mills called, but he got cut off. Then Galena called me, and I knew Galena is good friends with Elliot's wife.
So
she was at Elliot's
ramp.
ramp.
Was calling you.
Yeah, but I just knew the timing of it. It was just like that's what happened.
Is it because you were watching her think about going over that gap the day before?
Well, let's just go. Okay, should we just get into it here?
You didn't have a phone, is what I heard also. Like you bought a new phone, and so your phone wasn't working. So you were talking on your laptop.
I was texting on my laptop, but I was able to receive calls on my new phone.
But you couldn't call anyone because
I couldn't call anyone. Yes, that's right. Yeah, it was hectic. It's not about me though.
This is the same day, like all this is happening, and you can't use your phone?
I can't. It was full panic, all hands on deck. This is absolutely the worst thing that could happen. Everyone needs to be present. Everyone needs to be ready. Like everything is focused on Lizzie. How do we get Lizzie to the hospital? But we can get there. Just tell your story, and then I'll try to interject as best I can.
So we were filming for the Trans World Skate and Create, and like we spent the whole weekend together, like the whole Birdhouse team, and it was the first time in literally like years that we'd all been together, like since Saturdays, that the whole team had really gotten together.
Because it was COVID.
Deal.
We're in COVID times.
And it was a big deal.
Yeah.
To you were like, I'm going all out right here this week.
Everyone on the team was, because that's just like how Birdhouse is. It's just all of a sudden we're all together, and then everyone's just like, we're doing this, this, and this, and like the team is assembled. Like it's crazy. And then we like shot the intros and stuff, and then Elliot wanted to shoot at his ramp, and they got like a forklift, and they like were forklifting the van like above the mega quarter, and then they did it in the gap. Like it was insane.
So all the production of people putting vans on top of a mega ramp, that would have said to you like, wow, we're
serious.
Yeah, they're really going all out. It's a step up kind of weekend. Like you really got to step it up.
Yeah. And I hadn't skated Elliot's in so long, like not since they put in the mega ramp and like the whole like track, like it's like a whole setup. Like it's not just like one thing. It's
I've seen it.
It's crazy.
No, it's like it's a mega ramp motocross.
Mega ramp motocross, yep, exactly.
So we had like everyone.
But to put that in context, the mega ramp, it's how far is this gap? Like 30 feet, 40 feet, maybe?
You have to ask Elliot. Honestly, I don't know.
Okay,
I keep telling people like 20 feet.
It's a 60-foot gap.
It's over 20 feet.
Yeah, but you're talking about the wall that she hit.
Yeah, so
where the takeoff is. Yeah.
So the drop in is about 20, 25 feet probably, and then it goes into a launch ramp. And then there's a step up to the landing ramp, as people have seen in the X Games with the mega ramps like that, right?
Yeah.
So that gap between the takeoff of the launch and the deck of that ramp is probably 30 to 40 feet.
Right.
I'm guessing closer to 30.
And it's also like the heights of it, like the 20-foot rolling and stuff. It's also like on top.
Everything is elevated.
Scaffolding.
So the where you would take off from the jump is about 25 feet from the ground. Right. So there's just this gap of doom in between where you launch and land. That's it. Like that's the bottom line. And coming from a perspective of having ridden those ramps, you never think that that's going to happen because if you're ever going to, in our head, and Jason too, he rode those ramps many times, you think if you get to the launch ramp, you have enough speed to go over the thing. So worst case scenario is you're just going to fly over without your skateboard.
Yeah.
Right. So that I just want to put it into context of the size of it and the magnitude of it and the risk factor, which we never really imagined it could go that way.
You do the first time you ever jump it, you think about all the worst things that could happen because you're not aware of, it's all new to you. And you're like,
Right.
wow, there is a giant gap involved in this. Definitely don't want to go down there.
Right.
But when you first go over it, if you hit the kicker, you just fly over it. But you miss the kicker.
Well, so sorry, I just wanted to clarify all that stuff.
You really psychologically, because your level of skill is superior to that. You really you were scared when you went down the roll-in, right?
It's a mix of things, honestly. Like
Do you
I
recall
said,
it all?
Well, go
okay,
ahead.
so we're doing this like skate and create thing, and we're skating Elliot's compound, and we're skating the mega ramp setup, and like that's not that's
You'd never ridden it.
no,
Right.
I don't skate that stuff, which like it is transition, but it's so supersized that it's really like another
It's
thing.
way different.
Like if you can drive a car, it's not like you can drive a plane.
Let me ask you this. Did you have a mega ramp skateboard for this? Or did you use your normal vert board?
I use my normal board and I just like tighten my bushings. I got
Elliot has like special bushings that he had made, and he hands them out when people come to his ramp, and they can use their regular trucks with them. Did you have those bushings?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know.
This is
It's
new.
next
Wait,
level.
so people
Hey,
on Mega Ramp don't use Mega Ramp boards anymore? Did I just
Yeah.
come in grandpa?
No, hold on though. I went in old school. I use my Mega Ramp board.
Wait, you get laughed
my-
at if you show up with a Mega Ramp board?
No, I
Man.
mean Elliot runs like a bigger board. He has like his special mega board.
Right.
Like,
Okay.
Obviously Tony has his special board,
But he
but
does suggest some people could just put in bushings and ride their board.
yes.
And that's what he
Many
suggests.
people have done it now.
And they like that.
I mean, many people that want to do it, they're like, I don't have the other way. He's like, just put these bushings in, you'll be fine.
Okay. And that's what you opted for.
Yeah, so even on like the quarter, I like kicked around. I like did kick turns and
Yeah.
some stuff on Elliot's board and like maybe even Tony's board. Definitely Elliot's
and
board.
it felt,
It's just so weird.
it's big, right? It's so big.
I was like, I don't know what this like. It's just I'm already used to my board, and like if I just run the bushings, I'm just gonna go straight. So it doesn't
Yeah.
make a difference.
Fair enough.
And yeah, I don't know. So I was trying it the day everyone was there. Like the whole team was there. There was a bunch of people, and it was pretty crazy.
When you say trying it, you'd gone off it.
No, so we went there on the first day, and this is supposed to be the only day that like we had the chance to film.
Okay.
And so like the whole team's there, and there's like people sessioning, and like I don't know, like everyone's skating the car on top of like the ramp, and then eventually they switch it. No, they switch it.
They
the
didn't
next
switch
day.
it that day.
So they only skated the car.
The van on top of the quarter pipe.
Yeah, where you did an invert on it.
Yeah, that was that day.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of people. And I went up to the top. I like did all the different like roll-ins. Like there's like the giant 40
He has a
foot.
giant roll-in that's actually bigger than the roll-in for the mega ramp,
Just to get your
but it
rolling
just
legs.
goes down and goes flat and then goes up into a quarter pipe.
to help you get past the roll-in fear.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't even like it's so different. It's like its own thing, honestly.
It is different, and but it helps you get used to that.
He's got it there for like people that want to learn. He's like, go down that first, so you're
Kind of, yeah,
know your legs
kind
a
of,
bit.
yeah.
In
I
my
get it.
head, like I feel like it's like basically like if you go to the X Games, like you know how they have the giant like roll-in, and it's just scaffolding and just I don't know,
Yeah.
like nothing. Like I feel like that's the same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's the setup that he has where it's like the actual like mega ramp jump and stuff, and it's smaller, but it's like up high.
It's
so
raised
it's like
high.
taller,
It just
but it's smaller.
So the timing's different.
Yeah.
yes.
So when you pumped, you missed pumped because you were used to the one you'd already practiced, the other rolling.
We're not there yet.
Sorry.
Yeah,
We're
maybe.
jumping ahead. So basically I did that one and it's super gnarly.
Oh.
And then I was trying, like everyone was skating, like Elliot and Tom were skating. Forget if someone else was skating. There's like a couple people, or like you were
I
skating.
think Sean Hale was trying it.
And
Sean Hale was trying it because he was trying to get you hyped to do it.
yep.
How long were you on top of the rolling before you went?
Only a couple times. And then like I stood up there and I would like be like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then like everyone would start like cheering and like kind of doing that thing. And I was just like not in the headspace for that kind of energy.
Yeah.
Like it just felt like too much.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't like block it out. And so I was like, okay, I'll do the rolling again. And I got in like a rhythm of like, okay, I'll do the roll and come back, like have fresh legs and then just go. But then I got a migraine. Like I'd been getting migraines at the time. And so I like my vision and like my head just started like feeling like really shitty.
Did you get headaches that make your vision go bad?
Yeah, that's what a migraine does.
Yeah.
Or they're
My
different
wife,
for
Kathy,
different
gets
people.
them
Never
too.
had
Kathy gets
migraine,
them.
obviously.
Oh.
So that happened when you were on the
Debilitating.
rolling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you...
So she
Wait, this
decided
is-
not to do it.
Okay. I was
That
going
day.
to say, holy shit.
So I went under the rolling and I was just like down there, like kind of in fetal position, just like everything sucks. And then I told Tabitha and she's like, oh, go get like some caffeine. That usually helps me.
Okay.
And so like I grabbed like some drink and then that like, I just felt crazy. And then it was at the point where I was like, okay, like the day's kind of done. Like I'm not doing anything else. And the people I was with Aaron and Cody, who like obviously Jaws and then Cody Films.
Jaws, yeah.
Yeah.
And
A dangerous human being.
and I had to ask, I was trying to drive home and then in Camp Pendleton, I was like, okay, like my head's like too bad. Like I can't. And so I had Aaron drive me home.
Yeah.
And then I was like in the back seat and then I threw up and I was just like wrecked.
Man.
And I got home. I didn't even say bye to them. I just like crawled into my house and just like passed out. And then the next day, Mills came over to check out my house to see if we could
Mills is the Birdhouse team manager putting this video together.
Okay.
yeah, he's like heading the video.
Yeah.
And Mills comes to the house to see if we can do a trick on my ramp in the backyard, like get the van back there and see if there's anything.
Because we don't,
finagle.
at this point of the video, we're done with it. We don't have Lizzie skating the van.
Oh, and you need to do a van trick.
Yep.
Okay. What ramp do you have at your house?
I have my own little ramp.
A mini ramp?
Small ramp.
And you were going to put the van on the mini ramp?
No, just next to it. I was
Oh.
thinking like maybe I could like boneless and then have Mills
Okay.
drive over and I'll jump back in the ramp or something.
But that didn't happen?
So he checks it out and then he's like, oh yeah, like I'm going over to Elliot's, like they still have the forklift and whatever. Like he wants to go skate it for a little bit. Like you should come if you want to go.
They decided they wanted to put the van across the jump.
Right. So you do tricks on
So
the
you
van
could do
across
wall
the gap.
rides on the van or grind the top of the van.
Right.
And so that was like sort of after the afterthought. Well, let's just see if we can do that
Okay.
today.
And you were,
And then-
they were like, and why not hit the mega while you're there?
So I was like, Mills was just like, oh yeah, like you could go if you want. And Axel's like, oh yeah, like it'd be cool. I want to skate that thing too. And he just couldn't the day before. And also like the Birdhouse team was all together and he was like, didn't want to like feel like he was intruding or whatever. But we went because it was going to be mellow. And I was like, oh, Axel will skate and it'll be fun. And then I was like, yeah, I feel better, like whatever. And then I hit up like Alicia and like our friend Dane to like come to skate. And we like went down there and we were like skating the ramp and like warming up. And then we started like trying again. And pretty much like I was like, okay, I did the roll-ins like a bunch. And even like the giant roll-in that Tony was talking about, like even Axel, like when he looked at that one, he was like, I don't know about this thing. Like he was like freaked out because it was like that big.
Her husband, who is a well-established professional skateboarder.
Oh, okay. And he was like this rolling sketchy as hell.
Yeah. And he is gnarly.
Okay, that's not a good sign. Why use that rolling at all? That sounds like a terrible device in the corner.
It's mellow once you do it, but then like if you hesitate at all, like for sure it could like mess you up.
Okay.
But Anyway, so we
duly noted because I think I would end up being there. I think I'm not going over there. Fuck that thing.
We're going.
I'm just going to go to the
we're going.
This guy wants me to go down. I'm not going. Go ahead.
So I did that a couple times and I went back up to the top. And then I remember Dane, he dropped in and I was like, okay, I'm going to go after him. Like, he's done the mega ramp. Like, he's skated that kind of stuff. He just can do it. But he obviously that day he hadn't done it in a while. And so I was like, okay, if he goes, then I'll go right after him. And he went. And then the next, right after I went to drop in and I had been doing the other roll in so much where you just roll in. Yeah. And this one,
this is a tail drop.
This one you drop in. And so I was so focused on the other part of the ramp that I didn't drop in.
You rode off the whole start.
No, I dropped in. I didn't get my front truck down. And so I knee slid. And then I was like, okay, I have to go all the way back up.
So she knee slid on this ramp that's 8 feet wide and 40 feet in the air.
What? Why did you do that?
Because I was like, okay, I'm going off the end. I just have to go. And then I didn't do the first thing you had to do, which was drop in.
Wow. See a lot of things going through your head on this roll-in.
Yeah.
You forgot dropping in for a second.
Yeah, I don't even know how that was the thing. And then after that, I was like, okay, well, I know how to drop in. Do the drop in.
Right.
But before you get into that, we do have to just talk about, because everyone asks, why the hell wasn't there anything in between the ramp? Why wasn't there an airbag or pads or whatever? And
nobody goes through that. No one falls in the gap.
I understand that. And that is definitely was my perspective.
I mean, now
was my perspective, was Elliot's perspective, obviously. But he got asked. And it was oh, yeah, we have one, but it's down there.
Wait, you got asked that day?
Yeah, so Tabitha was on top of the ramp.
There's so many people feeling guilty about it. No wonder this video hasn't come out and she hasn't talked about it.
Yeah.
Everyone's blaming themselves a little bit for this slam. Because
I don't know. I mean, everyone's traumatized. But anyway, I just want to put that out there that was discussed, but at the same time, it was same attitude. That never happens. This never happened. It's not going to happen. And also,
if you put it you want her to fall in it, you know.
But also, it's we've seen Lizzie do the gnarliest stuff through the years.
You're going to make it,
and that's just not going to happen. And so I wasn't there, but I understand how they all had that mindset. Okay, so
seems like a lot of pressure that they've got you under. Sorry, everybody on Birdhouse, but it seems like everyone's come on, you got this. Let's go get you back there next weekend.
I mean, to each their own. Everyone has their thing that they do, and I feel everyone expects everyone to push themselves to that limit. Yeah. And a lot of the times, we just do it.
And 9 times out of 10, you probably would have been fine. That was a freak thing that happened.
So, take us through dropping in.
So on this next one, I'm pretty sure I drop in again or do something, pump around again. So I'm fresh. And then I go up there and then Alicia's sitting up there. She's not even skating. She's just this is
her friend.
Yeah. She's my best friend. She's she skates and she rips, but then she's yeah, I have no business with this thing at all. And Axel's behind me and he's okay, well, Lizzie's going to go and then I'm going to go. And then I was okay, I just have to go. And then I drop in and I go. And then it's just I make it down to the flat. And then after that, it's just I just maxed out.
You blacked out, you think? Do you remember the bit where you leaned forward and you were oh, wow. I'm going off the front of it.
The thing is I didn't black out. I didn't hit my head or anything. It's just I feel I reached that point in where I just my body was just no.
Shock almost.
Kinda. Yeah.
You mean your body, you said no, your body refused to go upward or do anything else, or that after the fact, your body won't remember all that?
I don't know. I really, okay. So I have no vision of what happened in between.
I see.
Obviously, I was mentally, I was awake the whole time and I remember hitting and I remember falling and when you have a really bad fall, that's a lot of time on something small. And so this is something huge. And I just remember it being initial and then another fall.
Yeah. I have a mega ramp. Well, I understand this, the slam into another slam where, because when you you weren't like, because it sounds like you were like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. So I'm not going to analyze every single part of it. It's kind of like a shark attack, I would assume, like where you're just like, I'm not going to analyze every single part of this bite, but make no mistake, I am in trouble right now, like total trouble. But to know that when you go whack and hit that wall, the
board catch.
The board, what's it called?
The board catch. It's not like it's literally there so your board doesn't go under the
Okay, so you shoulder block the board catch. Is that the main injury or is the injury after you bounce off that and fall to the ground?
We don't actually know.
That is the heaviest trauma I could think of riding a skateboard.
Yeah, no,
of your own momentum and without someone else running into you.
Short of going downhill.
Short of going downhill or getting hit by a car.
It's 2 car crashes.
It's 2 car crashes. And so I just wanted to clarify that for anyone watching or listening, that's what happened. And then she's laying on the ground.
In the gravel.
Next to bottles.
Under, like right next to / under the van that's rigged up.
So that's your van trick? Sorry.
No, I was just like so focused on just like doing the gap, and it's like whether the car was there didn't matter.
So let me ask you this. This slam happens and it's horrific. You're still conscious, as you already stated. You know you're there, right?
Yeah.
This whole time.
So I'm like laying on the ground and I'm catching my breath because like.
Did you get the wind knocked out of you? Like,
of course.
Did you do the thing where the air, you can't get the air to come in?
Yeah.
Right. So
but I was like, okay. I was like, I know what this is.
But you didn't, did you feel the broken bones already?
No. Okay. So I'm laying down there. I'm like struggling. And then finally like someone runs over to me and then like people like start slowly like coming to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like down there and I'm like, okay, like I can move like, what's it called? What's the photographer that like she shoots like a lot of Detour and stuff? His name's Chris Ortiz.
Ortiz, yeah.
Oh, Ortiz was there?
Yeah, so I think he's the one who's like, can you feel your fingers and toes?
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, I can move them all. Like and then they're like, okay, that's good.
Like,
checking for paralyzation.
Right. Yeah.
And then
I love Dr. Skateboarders.
Dude, we're the worst. Oh, just wait. This story gets this goes deep into Dr. Skateboarder territory. Just hold on.
We're all telling you what your diagnosis is.
So I'm laying there and then I'm like, okay, like I can feel everything. I know where I'm at. I like didn't black out or anything. I'm just pissed. I'm like so upset that happened because I'm like, all I had to do was like go over the damn thing. Like,
okay.
I did like in my head, it was like, this is so dumb. I can't believe this is happening right now.
Already you thought that. Like I would have had thought that maybe one time in the next 6 months. Like, can't believe I did that. But that's a catastrophic slam to even think that oh man, I can't believe I did. Like, what about just living? That's what my priority.
Yeah, living. Yeah, with internal injuries.
Yeah, like am I?
Yeah, like, I mean, it really. That she can get into the injury, but the idea that she was conscious and thinking clearly like that is still unreal to me. Even if you were hurt and you didn't hit your head or whatever, I feel like you would just go into panic mode, survival mode, fight or flight, something.
Did you feel how long until you feel the
she's
break?
Talking to people. She was talking.
So everyone's around me. They all look like freaked out.
Yeah, because they just saw. If anybody saw this video, if you were there, you would. I've had mega ramp slams where people have got teary eyes. Mega ramp you can have slams where your friends can think that you're not going to be the same again. I've been there. I've had Jake Brown, you're all right, mate, you're all right. And I'm like, why are you crying, dude? Like, that's not helping me feel confident about tomorrow in my life. Like, don't look at it like this is the end of my life. But I could tell, I wasn't even around. Him talking to me.
And her husband was up on the roll-in.
Oh, so he
saw it from the top, and he can't get down. Oh my! There's no escape route from there.
He has to go.
It's his first time there, and so it's like a rat maze there. Like if you want to figure out how to get to the bottom, and so he's like looking from the like basically like the perch of like everything,
and he can't get to you.
Well, there's just ladders, and you got to go around the ramp over here to get, like you don't go down from there. Generally,
he's like running like the wrong way, and then he's like realizing like I can't jump down this and gap this like.
Trying to find his wife who just missed the gap.
Yeah.
My best friend's up there and she's just like, I don't even want to see her. Like she's going to be like fucked up. And like, you know, like when you see someone that like jumps out and they're all like deranged and mangled, like she's gone kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
full denial.
like I said, so I'm laying down there and like people are like coming to me and they look like so freaked out. And I'm just like upset. And then I'm like basically like, okay, well, that was like bad enough where I know I'm not jumping up.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, I can like move things. And then I'm like, okay, this kind of like feels weird here. And it wasn't my rib, but it was like kind of like inside.
Yeah.
Like just like in my belly-ish area.
Oh,
and then I was like,
fuck.
oh, my hip feels kind of weird. And I was like, I think I sprained everything.
That's what you thought.
It's like,
Could you get up?
I was like, I'm not going to get up because I know how fucked up that fall was.
Okay.
I'm like I'm just going to like wait. And then I don't know how it gets to it, but it's like, okay, we're going to take you to Scripps.
Yeah, somehow in all this chaos, someone has the sensibility to bring the van down from the forklift.
No, but someone who's at that, like when I was laying down, at some point, someone decided that I wasn't going to go. We weren't going to call an ambulance because they'll send me to
Tri-City. So I got the call. And they said, Lizzie. It was exactly what I imagined, like the nightmare scenario was.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Lizzie fell through the gap. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And they're like, so she's here, and we're gonna take her to the hospital or call an ambulance. I go, okay, well, if you do take her to the hospital, don't take her to Tri-City.
Why not, Dr. Skateboarder?
Just because it's extremely busy.
Okay.
And in my
experience,
I waited in the waiting room for so long one time because I needed stitches that I just left and taped up my stitches area.
See, sometimes Dr. Skateboarder knows exactly what he's talking about.
And so I just thought, if you're going to Tri-City, and I know whatever happened to her has got to be serious. And I am friends with one of the head paramedics or nurses at doctors. Sorry, it gets confusing.
No,
he's one of the head doctors
okay, Tony, go
at
ahead.
Scripps Emergency.
Okay.
Right.
So you know someone
he handles trauma.
Trust.
He's fixed my kids up before. Okay. And so I just said, go to Scripps.
Who's taking you and how did you get off the ground?
So
sorry.
Whoever made the call, it wasn't me, but maybe it was through my suggestion to not call an ambulance.
Yeah.
That was one thing that happened that could have been a big mistake.
It's also just like infamous, like that they're like not that great, or like that bad stuff happens at many hospitals, but like there's been like David Loy's friend like had his leg blown up, but not blown up, but like he got infected and all this stuff, and it was like crazy because of some malpractice. So it's just like there's been like a couple things that have happened, and like
when you guys are in the hurt business and you go to a hospital and you realize they're not doing as good as another hospital, you make a mental note. Nothing wrong with
and
this.
I got Dr. Cardi on speed dial. So
you take advantage of that.
Right. That was it.
Be taken
so
care
I just said, so basically I'm at home dealing with my stupid phone issues. And I just said, they said, okay, well, we got her on a table. Like, well, it's like a stretcher.
Wait, skateboard doctors made a table and put you on it?
So they have a fold-up table that they've got her on.
Ugh.
And then they slide her into the back of the birdhouse van like it's an ambulance, like it's a gurney. Which was both the worst thing ever, but also brilliant.
Yeah.
Like MacGyver type of shit.
Yeah, as long as the table doesn't fold halfway while putting her in the van or something.
There were many boys handling it.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, I'll tell you where. I'll go from where I left off. I was on the ground, and then they find out, like, okay, I can move my stuff, and, like, I'm okay. And then it's like, okay, well, we got to get the van down. Like, you can't lay under this van. Like, it's on the forklift, and to be honest, like,
it looks
it's
so,
up there. It's like this.
Sketchy.
Oh, my God.
It's like jiggling. Like,
it's a huge van.
You guys.
It's gutted, but still. Like,
you guys sound crazy. I just want you to know. Like, coming from me, I'm like, both you crazy. You some crazy people. If you're like, Jace, we're going out this weekend, I'm like, you guys are on your own. I'm not going with you two. So anyway, Maniac, you're on the ground splattered and everyone tries to put you on the table.
So they get one of the fold-out tables. It's a solid one. It's not one of the folding ones.
Oh, okay.
It's a solid piece of plastic.
Okay.
And
only the legs fold out.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds way better. Okay, so they carry
They get
you
me
on
there, and then I'm a little uncomfortable, and so I'm like, oh, I need something to prop up my leg. Like, it feels like it's uncomfortable. Like, having you guys move it, like, it feels weird. And so they get, like, some of the there's like this mesh that goes on the scaffolding to like hide the scaffolding.
Yeah.
And it's like a giant folded up one of those, and they like squish it under my leg, and then like Tabitha runs and grabs me some pillows, and they basically like get me on the table, and then they move me next to the ramp, and then I'm just laying down there, and I'm like, oh my God, call our chiropractor friend, because, you know, like if something is really wrong, like just hearing his voice, of course, like I'll be okay. Like I just like fell off this giant thing. Like, am I okay? Like, do you know?
Do you feel
Did
broken?
he answer the phone?
He did. It's probably like so traumatic, this call, because it's just like one of your like friends and people you take care of is just like took this like really, really messed up slam, and we're just like, are we okay? Obviously, like that makes no sense, but in the time it does. Like,
are you feeling the pain yet?
So I'm like laying there, and I'm just like, I'm okay. I still have all the adrenaline and stuff. I'm pretty calm.
Yeah.
Still in her pads.
Yeah, I mean, who?
Yeah,
you're so broke. I wouldn't take your pads off.
Right.
That slam, I'd be like, nobody touch her.
I see Mitchie Brusco, like he was like skating the vert ramp, and he like is done skating at that point, and he like is like looking over me like he's seeing a ghost.
See, that look.
Yeah, that doesn't help. Doesn't help.
But Jake did that to me when I did I came over the deck on an Indy 540 on Mega Ramp, and I landed on my hip on the coping.
On the coping from like
and then
15 feet up.
So it's the same, not as bad as yours, but I slammed on that and went, whoa, and I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, my legs are going over my head. And I had to go, and do the sluggo front flip thing.
Yeah.
And then I landed on my back on the flat after hitting my hip on the coping. And I was like, ka-gang, the second time. And I was like, and at the time, my legs didn't move. I couldn't move my legs. And Jake is like, move your foot. And I was like, I can't. And Jake's like, you'll be all right, Bolkos. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, are you fucking crying, dude? Don't stop. I'm not. This is before his slam. So at the time, I had the trophy for the dumbest slam on Mega Ramp, and he was very sympathetic. That's why I loved Jakey. But getting back to your slam.
But you told me that you were trying to get, I can't remember who it was. Someone was in the van with you, and you're trying to get them to hold your hip in place.
Oh,
but you could feel it moving?
Wait. No. Okay, so I'm still not there yet.
Okay, sorry.
So
Oh my
I'm laying on
God.
they like forklift the van down, and then they like get it all the way as close as they can as me, and then they like slide me in, and then they're like trying to like figure out like, oh, who's gonna drive? Like, what are we doing? Like everyone's like, I don't know what to do, kind of thing. But like someone's trying, like they're all trying to like just get me to like the hospital.
Yeah.
And Mills is driving, and then Axel's like trying to figure out like who's gonna drive our car to the hospital, and so it's like it ends up being like it's too complicated for someone else to drive our car because we have a Tesla, and like it was just like too like
you got to get to the hospital.
Yeah, it was crazy. So then he like didn't go with me, and so my best friend and then Isaac like jump in the back of the van with me, and they like basically go like on each side of me to hold me there because there's nothing in the van.
Okay, because you
it's
can
just
slip
like
around.
Yeah, there's just like a big empty back.
So when the van's driving and they're turning and people are holding you in position, has the pain come yet?
No.
Really?
No, I'm like, I was like, I think I just
You're in
like brain
shock.
stuff. I'm like, I told Alicia, I was like, Alicia, hold my hand. Cause like, and she's getting freaked out that I'm saying this. Cause she's like, must be bad. Must be real bad. But I'm not like in pain. I'm just like, oh, I feel like weird and I don't know what's wrong.
Do you think you're bleeding internally?
I don't know. And I don't
that's
go
a worry,
there.
right?
Yeah.
Everything was a worry.
Cause I was like, I feel something weird in my stomach.
Oh.
And it's not my bones. Like I didn't feel like my bones.
Yeah.
And so I was like, it could be, but then I was like, I could be, what's it called?
In shock.
Sprained.
Right. And you haven't
sprained.
You haven't spit up anything
I
yet.
sprained my kidney.
So,
you know when you sprain your kidney, they lacerate sometimes, you know? But you didn't spit anything up, I take it?
No, I'm just like fine. And then I like can drink water and stuff. And then Isaac's on the other side and he's not super close, but he's just like there. And then I was like, can you just like get right next to my hip? Because like, I feel like just like moving, like I don't want to move at all.
Yeah.
Like I feel like.
Stabilize me.
Yeah. Like I'm not strapped into anything. I'm just laying
You're not
on a
in
table.
an ambulance.
And then the table is just laying in the back of like the floor of a van.
Yeah.
So without them, like, you know, I'd just be like all crazy back there.
And you could really get even more hurt.
Yeah. And so Mills gets me to the hospital and then
Oh, wait, let me interject.
Tony's there.
So I told them, go to this hospital. You know,
You wait,
this
you're
is where I know the dude. We're gonna get streamlined in.
Okay.
and it'll be cool. He wasn't there that day. He was actually at a conference, or no, he was at a different hospital in San Diego. But he knew what was happening.
Okay,
Told
so
him.
he told them.
And then he told them. I think I might have even, no, I didn't have the video, but I explained to him what happened, and he's like, okay, make sure, So the word hadn't gotten to the hospital yet from him,
So
and we're in COVID, so you can't just go in, right? So there is a station, a makeshift station out front, and there are a couple of nurses there, and I go with my Kathy, who's good friends with Lizzie, and we go up to the people, and I go, look, there's a storm coming.
A van with
like,
a broken lady
there's
in it.
like Mad Max is about to show up here. So I just want you guys to be prepared. Like this,
How'd they take that?
Our friend took a crazy fall, and
Yeah.
they're just like, okay, we're here, we're ready. I said, okay, I just want you to be kind of prepared.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes later, like the cavalry shows up, van coming in hot. It's got like panels. It's got a ledge,
No, I've seen.
It's got a ledge on
It's not
top.
a van. It's a skateboard.
It's just a
park.
skateboard vehicle. It's skateboard Mad Max, right?
Yeah.
And then they open up the back doors, and Lizzie is laying on a table.
And they bring the table out.
And then
But
she
you
looks
get
at me.
delivered into
So then the nurse realizes all of what I was trying to tell her.
Right.
She looks at me and she's like, "You can't move someone that got injured. You can't move them from the." I'm like,
Welcome to skateboarding, lady.
okay. Like,
Do you want to grab a stretcher? Because we'll put her on it if you want.
and still, Lizzie's still just laying there in her
In the
pads, listening to us talk. And I was like, okay, well, I understand. The next time someone falls out of the sky and lands on the ground, I will not move them.
But now.
But we're here.
Yeah.
Like, we're here.
Want to grab her?
Yeah. Can we help her? And then Lizzie's just like, hi. I'm not kidding.
You're still just mellow.
She's
the whole
just like,
time.
hi. Yeah. Like sitting next to Alicia. And
Is there still no pain?
At the ramp, they're like, hey, we have some like ibuprofen, or like, we have these painkillers. Do you want these? And I was like, no. Because like, what if I get to the hospital and then they like find out I took this, and then they're like, oh, well, you shouldn't have taken that
You've
because
been
now we
hurt
can't
before.
do
Now
this.
we can't do stuff. That's right.
So I was like, I don't need anything, and I'm not in pain. I'm just like, don't feel like I should get up. So
Yeah.
they like pull me out of the van, and they bring the stretcher with like, how they have like the nice ones there.
Yeah.
They just
Way
put the
better
table,
than a table,
They
right?
put the table on the
stretcher.
top.
Yeah, like
What?
we're not moving. Like, we're not gonna messing with anything.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Man.
So they got the magnitude of
They
what
must
was
have-
going
They must have
on.
been really bummed out about you guys showing up with her on that table. If they're not taking you off the table to put on the gurney, then that tells me that they're like, wow.
Let me just give you a little tidbit. It was like, she can explain what happens next, but it was maybe the next day, and I'm not even kidding. Lizzie called me like,
That
"Oh."
night. It was Friday that night.
Yeah, and basically it was like, oh, well, they still have the table. Like, can you tell Elliot that the table is at the hospital? We'll bring it back. And I was just like, are you talking about the stupid plastic table?
Who are you?
I don't
You're calling
care
him
about the table. Yeah.
But not, you haven't slept yet, and you're already worried about the table.
Well, in my mind, like, I can't do anything. So that's like one of the only things that I can control. So I was just like,
I was
the
like,
table's
okay,
here.
we'll get the table back. It's fine. Table will
In this
return
story,
to
do you
its
ever
rightful
feel
owner.
pain?
So I get in the hospital, and
Sorry
then
that I'm waiting for that so much, but I can't
It's
believe
coming.
it
It's
hasn't.
coming.
they take me in, they do like the CAT scan, and they like, I don't know, they like do the thing because they have to like inject something in your blood so they can see everything. And like, I don't know, like I get in the room, and they just eventually they like pull the table out from under, and they do the scan, and then they come back to me like a little bit later, because there's only so much they can do. They just like have to take the scan and like check all these things and make sure like that what's my name and like get all the paperwork.
Yeah.
Also, I said bye to everyone too. Like,
It's COVID. She has to say bye to her husband.
Oh, because you're by yourself. Oh, you have to
So,
be by yourself.
the second I went in the hospital, I was just on my
Gone.
own.
Right.
And like my phone was like, of course, like it always is. It's like dying. It's like low battery. And so like that's my only way of communication. And so I was like texting what I could. And then like I'm in there, and then the main doctor, he like comes in and is like, okay, yeah, so you broke your femur, and that's definitely going to need surgery. And you also like, you broke the like little wings that are on your spine. Those like a couple of them are broken. And so I was just like thinking like, oh my God, I have to get back surgery. Like, I think I'm going to freak out. And
she's finally going to freak out.
and then he's like, oh, you don't need surgery for those. Like, there's not much we can do. You just need hip surgery. And I was like, okay, so I need hip surgery. Okay. Well, and I was like, okay, well, what does that mean? Like, what are they going to do? And like, I don't know, maybe a hip replacement. And then that's when like everything is just like laying into me.
Are you thinking that your skateboard career is over when they're telling you about a hip replacement?
Kind of. I just don't know. Cause he's like, basically he said it in a way where it's like, well, I don't know, the doctor, like the surgeon will decide. Like, I don't actually, like he doesn't do that stuff. So it's just, could be this, could be that.
That's rough that they plant those things in your head.
Oh, they don't. I've had so many doctors tell me that I definitely won't be a skateboarder anymore after this slam. And I've been skateboarding so many times after the doctor told me that by the 10th time someone said that I'll never skate again, I was like, fucking suck. Always telling you, man, my shoulder came out and I had to have surgery on it. They were like, if you don't have surgery on it, you'll never skate again. I was like, I think I was like 27 when that was happening. I'm like, do you know how many errors I have of a doctor saying it's impossible?
But it is weird that they would even muse about things like that.
They love telling you can't do your thing again.
Depending on like, like how bad it was when they get in there, like it could be that because where it broke, it was so high up on my leg that it's like literally like where the ball of your femur is, and then your femur, it's like the neck. So if
you snap the ball off.
So if it's anywhere in here, I think that would have meant like hip replacement because they can't like do that much.
The femur goes where the ball goes into your hip socket. That ball broke off.
Right. So how long are you in hospital for?
So then the people at the hospital, or no, it's still not even at that hospital. So pretty much they're like, okay, yeah, like we have to send you to the trauma hospital. Like we don't do this kind of stuff here. And so I was like, okay, well, what's like, am I having surgery tonight? Like, what's the deal? Like, and then they're like, I don't know, we'll see. Like, you just have to go. And so they call an ambulance to transport me down to like Scripps La Jolla
that night.
And they transfer me, but I leave all the stuff at that hospital, like the table and all the junk. And so I'm like, oh yeah, like Tony, like all that stuff's there.
Good, glad. That's my main concern in this story is what happened to the table.
So, but I left like a Post-it note. Like I wrote like a Post-it note to Axel and I was like, yeah, the table is there, but I left a Post-it note. And that's why Axel came and picked up the table because he threw it in the back of your
Axel was staying with us while she was down
I can't believe
there.
You wrote a note about a table.
It wasn't about the table. It was to Axel.
It was a note to her husband.
Also, on that day,
the table.
Wait, I have to like backtrack a little bit. So that day also, after Mills came to the house, we were like at the house still deciding if we were going to go to Elliot's. And then that day we were like decided that I was like, we should just post that we got married. Like we hadn't told anyone yet.
Oh yeah. Backtrack. She and her husband had gotten married in secret about a week prior.
Yeah.
Wait, and you were about to tell everybody the news?
We told everyone, like after Mills left.
Wait, you told everybody, then you slammed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, so hey, everybody, we're married, and then you go to hospital by yourself for a week?
Yeah, but no one knows. So everyone's just like blowing up both of our phones. Probably why I have
It had just been announced. Hey, everyone, we got married last week.
And you're not talking to anybody about the slam?
No.
No one knows.
So everyone's just like, congratulations. Yes. And you're like, I'm fucking dying.
Pretty much.
Without my husband.
For a minute, right? Like, how long are you in hospital?
So they transfer me to the other hospital and they like check a bunch of stuff there. And I'm just like stuck in this room. And then eventually they get me to my other room. And they're at that hospital, like right when I get there, they're just like, we're going to give you like some pain medicine. Like, here's like ibuprofen. Or it was like Tylenol. It was Tylenol. And then I was like, it's okay. Like, I'm good. Like, is it going to be like, is it going to help me with swelling? Like, what's the benefit of me taking this?
Oh, wow. You're the complete opposite of me. I'd be like, give me your powerful painkiller and don't ask me another question.
So they have to like, they're like trying to like get me to take it. And I was just like, I don't know. Like, I just want to get better. And like, I don't know if this will make me better. Like, this seems like I'm going to have a long time to like figure this out.
Yeah.
And I don't want to deal with this. I just want to get better. Like right now. Right now, I want to get better.
Obviously, the pain is still not kicked in yet.
No. And so I start taking the pain medicines and I'm just like, oh, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. And I think it was because I didn't move too much. Like, you know how usually you like slam and then you like freak out and move and like you dislodge things? Like that's when it would have been fucked up. I think. So everything was just, it was broken, but it didn't get moved too much.
Okay.
And yeah, and then I spent the night, and then the next day I was just like, Axel, like whatever, like just make sure that this is the surgeon that's like gonna do the best possible like option for me. Like make sure that this is the guy.
Yeah.
And so it's like so hard to communicate because in the hospital there's like COVID, and the nurses like they're like brought me these sheets that say like they'll release the doctor's notes after everything happens, and it's like that doesn't help anybody. And so it's just like, can we just get the surgeon to talk to Axel? Like, can we just like reference them? And it was just such a big like run around, and like everyone's just like holding, like there's like all these protocols and like information.
You had to just wait for someone to crack. Someone would be like, all right, just, you know.
Sounds like the release of this show.
And then he can't come in either. Like it's just
so you
like,
haven't seen him?
No. And so then the social worker ends up like saying like, so there's like social workers that are like applied to each like person.
Oh.
And she says like, oh yeah, the hospitals like protocols, they just keep changing like with COVID, and like maybe we could get him in. And so I just like was like, yeah, like I really need to see him. Like that would make a lot of things better.
Yeah.
Because it's just been so hard to communicate. Like I had to get a friend that lived like in the area that I've known forever, but like I don't like talk to him all the time. I was like, please, like I know this is like so out of the blue, but I'm at the hospital and I just like slammed pretty bad, but I really just need a phone charger.
Yeah.
And because that was my only way of communicating, and I was just like, I know I'm not like mentally capable right now to like make sure, like I can't check or cross-reference anything. Like I'm just here.
Right.
And they're just going to tell me like, oh yeah, you're in the best care. Like you're fine.
And you want a phone charger so that you can get your team to confirm that this guy that's about to operate on you can keep your skateboard life going. And you're trying to explain to this hospital, hey, I'm not just some Sally that cares like any old way you repair me. My whole life. I get it. Trying to tell a hospital that my whole life is skateboarding, and if you don't do this surgery right, you're going to take my whole life.
That is
away
a weird
from
conversation because you do feel like you're insulting their level of
you
care
don't think
for
this
people.
doctor can take-
Yeah, and I've had that. Yes, I've had that conversation many times, and that was something we were trying to express to them without insulting anyone. It was hard.
It was really challenging, and then I just kept talking to
the
the
phone
social.
charger?
Yeah, I got the phone charger, so my phone was charging, which was awesome. And like, I just kept like, the nurses were like, so adamant, like no one's allowed in, like unless you're like dying or having a baby, like no one's allowed in.
Okay.
And I was just like, the social worker said that there was like a chance, and also like all the nurses that would help me, I was like super nice to them. I was like, oh my god, I just got married, like I have a husband, and blah blah blah, like just trying to like be like somebody like help me.
Yeah.
And like befriend them and be like super nice, which I'd be nice to them anyway, but I was just like, throw me a bone, like help me.
And did they?
And the social worker came through, and I was like, Axel, you can come tomorrow, like at 2. And he came, and then he went downstairs, and then they were like, no, you can't come in here. Like, what do you mean? Like we just talked to the nurses. They're like, no, like you can't. And so I had to get the social worker back. And then the social worker was like, you have to say that like, you're here, or he's here to visit you for like patient intervention.
Okay.
Like it's just like you have to say these words, otherwise they're like
This unlocks the key.
Yeah. And then they're like, oh, patient intervention, like go in that door, of course. And even the nurse, like, so there's like the head nurse, and then there's like a nurse under her, and she like came in and she was like all secretive, like, hey, like you like need to say those things, otherwise they won't let him in. And then she like ran away because like she wasn't supposed to, like the nurses are trying to like lock down the area. But then, like I said, there's like multiple things, and the social workers could help.
He said the magic words.
So how are you telling me this now and nobody knows about it until now? How did you do that? Like, how did you guys pull that off? Because this is not known by everybody in skateboarding, let alone the world. How did you do that?
Well, as far as from my perspective, we just put the footage on lockdown and just said, look, don't spread the word. This is Lizzie's story to tell. We don't have the right to explain it or to talk about it if she doesn't want it out there. And I told her, probably maybe a little too soon after the fact, that holy shit, this is the biggest comeback story ever, especially if you're going to be in the Olympics.
Right.
And there's something there that I don't know. Whatever. I'm just thinking, like, can you imagine that they show the slam, talk about her, that this only happened less than a year ago, and now she is on the world stage? Like, that's a huge story.
Was this emotional for you? Because I'm sensing that it was. But I don't know you that well, and I'm like, I feel like you're almost somebody that doesn't give a shit about it. But I feel like, because I feel like you thought you lost your career for a minute, right?
I didn't know there was so much uncertainty, and that's why I was just like, whatever happens is in like everyone else's control. And I like knew at that point that all I could do was like just accept whatever was happening.
Yeah.
And like in the hospital, like you can't do anything anyway. Like you're just there, and like people are just like, I don't know, just saying thank you to people that were saying like, oh my God, congrats on getting married. And
you were just more about, cool, I appreciate that, but what about my leg? When's my leg gonna heal? When did you know? When did you know that you were going to be back? I know. I'm so.
We're in the hospital, and then like Axel's only supposed to be there for 2 hours, and it hits that point, and then like he's just like, "Fuck it, I'm staying." Like they'll kick me out. I don't care. Like they're not really like being super nice, and they probably won't let me back in if I have another chance. So whatever. And then the surgeon comes, or like the person comes to wheel me down to surgery, and I was just like, please, can you like let my husband talk to the surgeon? And it just like luckily worked out that the timing was like there. And he's like, no, like he can't come down there. And then he's like, wait. And he left, made a call, and then came back and was like, okay, he can come. And so they take us down to like the operating area. Like they're like prepping me. And I was just like, was like, I'm not signing the paper until like I know that this is like.
Good for you.
This is
the doctor.
Yeah. And so...
And your husband was like, yeah, let me talk to this guy before it happens. And you're like, I'm not signing it until my husband talks to the doctor.
Pretty much.
And they let this happen.
So then he comes down there, and then the doctor like shows up, and they're prepping me, and like him and the surgeon talk, and then it's like, yeah, well, he's the guy, so you're good. And then he like leaves, and then like he gets text messages like, okay, she's going into surgery. And then like, I don't know, like that was it. And then I was just like, okay. I wake up later, and then it's all I'm just like in the hospital, and I'm just like, that just happened. And honestly, after that point, I felt so relieved. Cause like for me, like up until that point, like I'd never broken anything.
Oh, wow. Oh.
Like aside from my teeth, I smashed my teeth in, but I've never broken like bones. And so for me, like getting surgery and that kind of thing was like, I think one of the scariest things I could like do, especially it being like this level, like it's like your leg, and you don't know, like you need that for like basic everyday life.
Yeah.
Like, and so I felt like the worst part was over once I had surgery, and like there was like the uncertainty was gone.
How long until the doctor tells you about how good your hip is and how you're going to be fine in skateboarding? Like when do you find that out?
Like right now, or like back then?
No, after the surgery.
Oh, he says like, oh yeah, it's like 6 to like 8 months or something.
But he was like, and you will have a full recovery.
I forget if it was full recovery, but he's like, you'll be good. Like after the surgery, he like came in to talk to me, and he was like, yeah, the surgery went awesome. And it was like, he was like so proud of it. And like, I think he called Axel, and then Axel put like Tony on the phone.
To talk to the doctor?
Yeah.
To bust these balls a little bit, to do a good job.
I just was like, he's like, oh, hey, Axel's like, someone wants to say thanks. And I'm like, hey, what's up? This is Tony Hawk. He's like, oh, cool. Like, thank you so much. Lizzie's very important to us, and we're very excited that, she's on the mend. He's like, yep, couldn't have gone better.
But he was like, I guess he was like bragging. He like showed his colleagues, and everyone was
about
like,
what a good job he did.
Pretty much.
That's
like
what you want. That's
so,
awesome.
I don't know. I was just like,
I finally got it right.
I feel like sketchy, but as long as it's on me, deal. Okay.
So, like the surgery went well, and then that day I was like, or the next day I was like, okay, well, like you have to walk, otherwise we're gonna like put you on a catheter. And I was like, okay, I'm walking, and it was like so crazy, just because like after all that, you're like, I don't know, it's like you're just like messed up.
Yeah.
And like the one lady was like, I don't know, it was. So I walked around. They have like the belt on you, and it was just like so crazy. Just like this whole experience of like relearning how to. I mean, I know how to walk, but then after that stuff, it's like you just like don't have the strength or the energy. Like I don't know. It was crazy, and then I was there for like 4 days, pretty much, like from start to finish.
Yeah.
And it was just like after the surgery, it was just like walking and like getting all your like basic movements back because there's like a trainer that comes with you and just like make sure like they won't clear you until you can do like all your basic functions.
So then you do the basic functions.
And then they clear you and then
you're cleared and then you go home and you start rehabbing. And you're like, yeah, pretty soon I'm going to be skateboarding, or are you like, let me just figure out how to walk? That's all I really care about.
So, like I said, I like they instantly started me out on crutches. Like I was just going, and then after like 2 weeks, they like, or I forget how many weeks it was, but then they're like, okay, start putting like weight on it, and like I don't know, they had this like whole track program, and like every like week I would get much better, and then at some point, I remember like I want to say like 2 months after. I was like fully walking.
She was at home, had a hospital bed in her house, and was living in the living room because she needed to live and be in the hospital bed, and that didn't fit in their bedroom. So now they're newlyweds, living in separate rooms. Wow. And
how romantic, right?
Full-time caretaker.
Your husband.
Yeah.
Is her husband, yeah.
Caretaker.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was
you're
putting it to the full test.
Yeah, from the start,
like straight
Day
in.
one, going for it.
Yeah.
Good for you guys. Well, now you know he's the guy. He's good for you. I want to know about this. So now you're good. Your leg's great. You can skate.
I can skate now.
I mean, as a testament to Lizzie and just her resilience and her perseverance, anyone else that happened to, it's either an excuse to just let it all go or to chill and to, immediately she was like, what are the steps to get back out there? Like, what am I doing to get on it? And we all knew if anyone is going to do this in a rapid way, it's going to be her. And she did. And like, I remember, I would go visit, I don't know, every couple weeks or so. And every time I'd go, I was just like, oh, now she's sitting here with us. And now we're going to meet at a restaurant. Like, what? It was...
He really cares, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Does it mean, because I've recently started to skateboard again and I've slammed really badly and it's just been me and him. And I told him the highlight of it is when I look at the video afterwards and he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, oh, he really cares if I'm hurt or not. I'm like, dude, you go visit her like every couple of days. You got the hospital.
Well, not every couple of days, but you know
what I mean? Like a lot of skateboarders don't do that for each other. Like you get hurt. It's like until you start skating the ramp again, they're not coming over to see how you are.
But also it speaks to our team connection too. All the team, a lot of the guys were coming to visit too. But
everyone in that video either like made some crazy trick or like got broke off like completely.
Yeah. Well, you're the winner.
Yeah.
That video is.
But that was the weird thing for us is that video came out. We won the readers poll or whatever.
Oh, and nobody knows.
Yeah, so it was
and then
like
people were commenting about it, like, "Oh yeah, but you didn't even like use Lizzie."
Yeah, Lizzie's not even like, "Oh, cool, show her in the van." Doesn't even get a trick.
And you can't say this whole time.
This whole time. Yep.
So right now, when this comes out, everyone's gonna go, "Oh, wow! Show me the video." That's what's gonna happen. I don't want to be you for the next couple of months because you're not gonna give it to them, right? You're gonna wait.
It'll be put out there.
Are you scarred at all?
Yeah, for sure. Like, oh my God. So I went to Salt Lake City last week.
Yeah.
And it's like my first skate trip since all this. Like I started skating a little bit before, but like on a skate trip, you're skating every day. There's like multiple parks.
Yeah.
And so we go out there and the first park we go to is like the Woodward out there because it's snowing. Like it's like the weather's shit. Yeah. And in there, like the first thing you walk up to, it's like the mega ramp jumps. Oh. It's just like straight back.
You didn't go down it, did you?
I did the smaller. I mean, I didn't
the
do
foam pit. You mean?
It's a foam pit.
Yeah, it's a foam pit.
It's not complete, but they're just like it's still the thing. And it was just like in my mind, I just felt
big
like,
ass roll in, kicker, foam pit.
I just felt like I was like, oh my God, am I just going straight back into like mega ramp training? Like now that I'm like, I can walk.
Yeah.
So that was
Triggered.
Easy.
That was like a little bit much, but I'm okay, obviously.
So I've been, I don't want to make it about me, but I've been watching her, how she presents social media and stuff. Cause I'm really curious, like, how do you keep this all under wraps?
Yeah.
And what is going on? And so every once in a while she would have something for Vans or whatever. And it's her standing by her ramp. And I was like, oh, it's good. Like, like,
Oh, wow.
you're still out
Wait,
there.
so you've done this. People don't know you've been hurt.
No.
Right.
But also,
And you had
I had like this giant like Vans campaign come out like a few months ago, and it was filmed like the weekend before my slam. So that
backside
campaign,
flip on vert, no grab.
holy shit.
so everyone's just like, "Oh, Lizzie's ripping," when in reality, I was
Nice.
just like,
So it's weird.
So
It was
diesel.
so weird to be one of the team guys because we're all watching and we're like, oh, that's awesome that she has that footage to put out there. And then not long after, there's footage of her in Salt Lake City now skating and doing an invert. And I'm like, yes. Yeah, like I saw that. And I was like, yeah, because I know the truth of it all. And so I just was like typing, commenting on her comment, like, yeah. And then people are just like,
And people are like, why are you so
Yeah.
and you can't say, well, the thing is.
I had to watch it 4 times to realize, like, is that now? That's now? That did just happen.
Wow. That is amazing. You're a Cinderella story right now. You're like the definition of
Like the ultimate comeback.
there's a thing that I learned from this guy. He's a heavyweight boxer. He fought Mike Tyson, like a proper fighter. And he got it from some comedy show in Australia, but he would always tell me to harden the fuck up. And he would always say that. It was like his catchphrase. It would just be sort of like, you know what your problem is? And I'm like, no, what? You need to harden the fuck up. And I'm like, oh, well, thank God. Now that I know, everything's going to be fine.
I got everything figured out.
But I would always use that on certain people. Like some people like words of encouragement like that. Some people find that to be offensive. But you're like harden the fuck up story of the week. You're the harden the fuck up story of the century. There's no... He's right.
She defines
that slam
it.
stops people.
She defines it.
Jake Brown is also another person. He's not human. Like when you slam like that, most normal people go, I can't do that again. Like this is like people need to know about this. People need to know your story because it's you're a dainty little girl. You seem very cute and nice and friendly. You're
like
a
my grandma.
warrior. You're a warlord. Like people don't.
Oh no, she's a warrior. No, are you kidding me?
People don't understand.
I mean, I've seen it through the years, but when I saw her go through the whole thing with the loop, I was like, she is on a different level.
Wait, did you eat shit in the loop?
No,
but she figured it out.
You made it.
By herself. She knee slid at 12 o'clock, trying it the first time without pads.
Wait, you did it with no pads?
No. Like, when
when you take the pads out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the crash pads.
Yeah.
First time she took the crash pads out, she knee slid at 12 o'clock
How do you do that?
and then kept doing it. She did
it
that.
worked out. So I figured.
But I'm just saying, like, she is.
Get a tattoo of your face. It's inspirational. Who's that? It's the toughest motherfucker you'll ever meet. Got a problem?
Yeah, well, special. She's special and one of the most incredible skaters, athletes that I've ever seen. And this is still unbelievable to me. Even though I know all the ins and outs of it, it's still unreal that it happened, that she got through it, and that she's here sitting here talking about it and skating.
Do tour.
Tour.
You're going in the do tour.
Yep. So.
I mean, that's where we're at. So I don't know, Lizzie, thank you for telling the story. Thank you for your perseverance, for your dedication to skateboarding, and for inspiring an entire generation of skaters, not just girls, anyone. I mean, this is like the heaviest, like I said, heaviest slam that possibly ever, and you made it through. And there are very, very few people in the entire world throughout history that could have made it through.
The world is yours. You realize that, right? Anybody who goes through that and is still here shining on top of the mountain, the world is theirs. All you have to watch out for is like vending machines and shark attacks. You're fine.
Vending machines?
Did you know vending machines kill more people than sharks every year? Sorry, that one always got me. I'm sorry. Every time I go to a vending machine now, I'm like, but how does it happen?
I think it's because people are trying to steal stuff.
So what? It still kills people more than sharks. Come on, man. They're dangerous. Watch out.
Okay.
All right, we've got to stop. We went extra long. I'm sure we won't be as long next time.
So,
Can I add in one more thing?
Yes, please.
All throughout that whole thing, like I need obviously like in the road to like getting better, like obviously I needed like a lot of help, and I had people come over to like help me, and it was funny because I remember people being like, "Damn, this sucks. Like this is so bad. This sucks." And at the time, I was just like in the thick of it, like very present, and I was just like, really, like I just get to spend a lot of time with Axel and like hanging out at my house. Like I never get to do this. Like this is crazy. I was like, in my head, I was like, I didn't think about the fact that I can't just do what I want to do. But at the same time, like when you're in that kind of situation, there's only so many things you can do. And like, I feel like with my personality, I just like, if I can't like do it, then it's just like, it doesn't exist anyway. So I don't know.
It was the ultimate Netflix and chill.
It was. And
man, very positive way to look at it.
I don't know. I just think there were so many other crazy things going on. Like there was the elections going on, and then there was like the Tiger King thing going. Like there was like so many bouts of like people just like going through like psycho like trends, and I was just like at home the whole time, and I didn't really feel like I missed out on anything.
Yeah, but you didn't. I could do without watching that show. Oh man, I could do without watching your slam. Actually, I'm glad I skateboarded before he showed me that, because I might have just drove home.
I haven't seen it.
Really? You want to watch it right now?
No.
Okay.
Thank
I had to
you,
do
though.
that. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well offer.
I'm sick. I want to watch you watch it and be like,
Oh my God.
okay, like.
It's funny because I do the same. I've seen other people watch it, and I'm just like gauging their reaction and just like seeing if they like keep it to themselves or they're just like.
There's a part of me that feels morbid and weird that I have it on my phone. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not the one. I'm not like, hey man, I got this crazy video. You want to see it? It's more if the subject comes up and people are just like, is that on video?
Yeah,
I'd like to say,
I'm
like,
so tweaked.
I have it.
I'm like, man, you showed me the video and I watched it. I didn't go, yeah. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe she's alive and still skateboards.
Also, he was preparing for the interview, so yeah. But that's why I have it.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Look.
At some point, I think I will have it, and yeah. I will have watched it. I think
you'll watch it one day and you'll laugh at it, and you will also skate the mega ramp. That's what will happen to you. That's what's going to happen.
Yes.
You're a freaking warlord. You will laugh. We've got to go. We talked way too long.
Okay.
See you in a week or two.
Thanks, Lizzie.
Thanks for being on the show. See you, everybody.